don't really know exactly when my channel stopped being a book channel and started being a manga graphic novel sort of channel, but I enjoy it and I have a lot of manga to show you, so we have to deal with the situation. Hello beautiful bookworms, my name is Katarina and welcome to my channel, and today I have a voice again. I have some sun, I have some cold, and I have one book, one comic, and 7 manga, which, I mean, I think that having a lot of manga in my book hauls is starting to be something very recurrent. I miss buying some books, but at the same time, I love that I have more manga for my collection and that I can bestow upon you the news of the manga world and go read manga. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first the book that I've got, which was my Valentine's Day gift, one of the Valentine's Day gifts. Then I'm going to show you my comic issue, and then I'm going to show you all of the manga. So in case you're not interested in manga, you can leave after the book. But I would advise you to stay because I have some great ones, as usual, because I love pretty much all of the manga that I get. But these are pretty awesome. So let's just start hauling stuff for the month of February, which is, again, already almost over. What is going on this year? Everything is going by so fast. Okay, so the first one that I have is the book, and that is Dracula. And first of all, look at this. It goes around, and the blood, you can feel the blood. It's so cool. And look at the aesthetic of this shit. This is a kind of aesthetic that I wish I had, that I don't, sadly, but I wish I had. And this is by Dick Stoker and G.D. Barker. And Dick Stoker is like sort of a great grandson, but also nephew of Bram Stoker, something like that. Yeah. And then G.D. Barker is an author of Forsaken, a finalist of the Bram Stoker Award. Okay. So, I should have seen this after presenting you the book, before presenting you the book, actually. But this is supposed to be the beginning of the legend and of the monster that Bram Stoker created. If you don't know, Bram Stoker is the original creator of Dracula, which is pretty much sort of like the original vampire. Let's just go with that. And I have read Dracula. I love Dracula. I have watched Dracula the movie, which has not really a lot to do with Dracula the book, but I love the movie as well. And so this seems like a natural progression, and I do believe that this is in 1868. And it says, for all those that know that the monsters are real. And so supposedly this is the story of Bram Stoker, and it sort of paints him like this dude that is batshit crazy and believes that vampires are real, and hence he wrote Dracula to kind of talk about his own story with vampires. At the same time, you can see him as a batshit crazy dude, or you can see him as someone that knows the truth and nobody else does, which is how I'm going to choose to actually view Bram Stoker. I don't know. I don't know. It just sounds pretty amazing. I don't know. I don't know how much reality this has. Probably none. But I am very, very excited to read this. It's beautiful, it sounds amazing, it's dark and creepy, and it's about a gothic writer, and it's a gothic tale, and has vampires. So I'm very excited, and yeah, if you like vampires, this could be your shit. I don't know, maybe. I will have to read it and tell you. The next one that I have to show you is my comic issue of the month, which every month I receive a comic issue of this specific let's say title, shall we? And that is Ruby issue 4. So this is sort of shiny because it's inside a protective sort of cover. Look how gorgeous. So I've told you many times that Ruby is a sort of magical girl sort of thing in which these girls go to this school to become hunters of the grim monsters, which are some crazy monsters that are threatening the society. But there's a lot getting into that. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of racial situations, there's a lot of the world building is bigger than we thought of. And this is sort of this is an animation, not an anime, it's an animation. And the comics are sort of like a way for us to get to know more about the animation. You can read this without watching the animation, but seriously, I wouldn't recommend that, because first of all, it starts like in the middle of season 3 or 4 for Ruby. So you kind of lose all of the background of your characters, and then it has new background of the characters. So I don't know, I would recommend you to see the animation and then read these. I am really enjoying them. Actually, I haven't read this one, which is sort of sad, because normally I read the comic before, you know, presenting it in the book haul, because it's such a short thing to read. But this time I didn't have the time, so yeah, but I'm excited to read it, actually. And now let's get into the manga. We have more manga. We love some manga, some manga, some manga. Ooh. It's fine, I'm over it, it's okay. So the first 2 manga volumes that I have here are volume 16 and 17 of Fairy Tail by Hiro Mashima. And if you have been in this channel since the beginning, you probably know that I'm doing the Fairy Tail collection, because I have watched the anime, all of the anime, which is actually finished, as is the manga, of course. And I love that anime. It's one of my favorite animes ever, even though it's shonen, which normally is not my favorite type of animation. Well, of animation, yes, but of manga, not really. But in this case, I am actually slowly progressing doing this collection. And the situation is, I have volumes 1 to 17, and then I have volume 34, 37, 39, 59, and 63, which is the last one. There's 63 volumes of this. So, you're going to see more volumes of this slowly, because we all know that manga costs money, so we have to build this slowly. So this is just another addiction, yeah, it's an addiction. It's another addition to the collection of the Fairy Tail. This is basically about this magician's guild. And it's sort of, we follow this main character, Lucy. She is this girl, she's searching for a purpose and meaning, and she gets thrown into Fairy Tail's guild. She decides to be a part of it, and all of the adventures that she has with all of multiple friends, and all of the villains that they have to fight, and all of the situations. And it's sort of like that very known common thing in animation, which is the power of friendship. And in this case, it makes you cry. At least it made me cry when I watched the animation. So I really love Fairy Tail, and I really want to read it sometimes, because I only read like 3 of the manga, but I want to have all of them to actually read and feel like I'm rewatching the animation. So yeah, just doing the collection slowly. Then, talking about completing collections, I have volume 12 of Yumineku no Nakokoro ni, or as it's terribly translated, Yumineku when they cry, which would be translated to when the seagulls cry. For some fucking reason, because this shit has nothing to do with seagulls, but since it's passed on an island, I mean, there's seagulls on an island, we can go there. I wouldn't, but you can if you want. So, I haven't talked about this in a while, and probably because these are such massive volumes that cost a lot of money that we haven't been able to haul them. But I actually got this one for this month, and I am very, very happy, because this is one of those cases where I really want to do the collection before starting to read it, because I watched the anime for this, and it was shit, which is very, very unfortunate, since one of my favorite animations of all time, Igurashi no Nakokoro ni, or When the Cicadas Cry, or When They Cry, or whatever, is sort of novelized, or mangalized, if you want, by the same person, and that person is Ryukishio 7, which is the one that does the story for this. And then you have art by many different people. For each volume you have like different art, because this is based on arcs, and so you have different art for each arc. Wow. Arc. Okay, wow. This was very difficult. So as I was saying, this the anime for this is terrible, But the manga series, for what I can gather, is pretty awesome. And this one I don't recommend to everyone because it has a very high-filled gore situation and people dying and a lot of triggers, which is not fun. For me, it sort of is. It depends on the situation, but I really enjoy it for some sick sort of twisted way. And going on with the story, this is basically the story of this family. The patriarch of the family calls everyone to this island, and he says something like, the one that finds the witch's treasure, that solves the witch's riddle, which is a thing, will inherit all of my fortune. And so all of the family, like cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, whatever, they're all going to start looking for stuff. But the thing is, supernatural is real here, and apparently there really is a witch, and she is not very happy with the fact that they are trying to solve a riddle because she has situations of her own that she has to solve. And the situation here is that our main character is Butler. He's one of the grandchildren of the patriarch, and he starts to do this sort of chess game with this witch. So if she wins, he will have to admit that witchcraft and supernatural are real and that she is going to kill his whole family. Yeah, it's a thing. If he wins, she will have to admit that there is no such thing as supernatural forces, and because she is a supernatural force, she will henceforth die, because if she doesn't exist, she doesn't exist, you know what I mean? So it's very strange. It's sort of like a moment in time where things are always happening again and again and again, but not in the same vein, and they're always building some sort of challenges for each other, and people die in the process, and it's very interesting. I don't know why. It's like that Sherlock Holmes sort of thing, but at the same time, those, I don't know, people with motivations, family situations, I don't know, it's just so pleasing. And I really want to read it, but I need to buy all of the volumes before I do, and this is still ongoing. And they are bigger than this. Like, there's literally one that is like this, and we have no money for this. Then the next one is a little bit smaller, and it is The Promised Neverland Volume 13. Here you go. And this is by Pasuka Demisu and Kayu Shirai. And you all probably have heard of The Promised Neverland because bigger booktubers than myself are hyping this up a lot, which I love because Promised Neverland is actually pretty cool. This is basically the story about these kids. They are orphan kids, and they're in an orphanage, and supposedly they are being adopted by good people, but one day they discover that they are actually being produced to be fed to demons. And so they decide that they're going to try and escape the orphanage. And this is, again, you can see a pattern in my choices of reading, but this is, again, sort of a chess game between the people that are after them and the people that are escaping, which are the orphans in this situation. I love the main characters. Not all of the orphans are my favorite, but the main characters are really amazing. Our specific main character is this redhead girl, and she's awesome, and she has like this little thing in her hair, and I am really thinking that my hair will be really cool with a thingy like this. Don't you? I think it will. But yeah, this is sort of, it has some gory situations because there's demons and it could be triggering for some people. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend if you're not okay with children being hunted to be food, but it doesn't have a lot of graphic, actually on your face horror, or at least it doesn't in the first volumes. So if you want a very slow introduction to horror manga, this will be pretty good, because the rest of the horror manga that I could recommend you, it's not slow and it's not an introduction. It's like, bam, you're there, people are dying, guts, gore, and situations. So this is a slow one, a slow introduction to actually horror manga, and it could be nice if that's what you're into, or if you want to discover if you're into horror. Next, a personal favorite, and that is Children of the Whales, Volume 14 by Abi Umeda. And as you know, I rave about Children of the Whales. I have 3 volumes behind, so I have to read this and volume 13th and 12 because I haven't read those, but Children of the Whales is there, by the way. This is all my collection of Children of the Whales, and I absolutely love this. This has a lot of Ghiblish vibes. The art is amazing, as you can see through here and here, and I'm trying not to spoil myself. Here, it's gorgeous, absolutely amazing. It's about these people that they just live in this sort of sand island that goes around in the ocean just like a boat. And one day, some people just get to the island and start to try and kill them. And they find out that they are exiles. And there's a reason for that. And they have to find out like how to live and how to deal with the situation and who they are and what they are. And there is these people that have powers and these people that don't. And the people that have powers normally die very, very young. And the people that don't have powers don't really die until they're very, very old. So it's also a situation that they have to figure out, like, will they die? Will they not? Like, who are they? And it's just so very beautiful. And it's about identity and it's about the sort of politics of this world. And it's really, it's beautiful. Like, why am I telling you, like, go read this? It's beautiful. You don't need anything else. You don't need to know anything. Just go read this. It's gorgeous. Also a personal favorite, Tokyo Ghoul Re by Sue Hishida. And this is volume 14th of Tokyo Ghoul Re. And the first season of Tokyo Ghoul only had 14 volumes, but apparently this second season is not finished in the 14th volume, which I'm very happy about because I thought I was going to be without Tokyo Ghoul forever, and I'm not, so I have a lot of volumes to read yet. I don't know, maybe. But Tokyo Ghoul, the first season, is about this dude. Because of an unfortunate accident, he becomes half ghoul, half human, and ghouls are sort of creatures that look like humans, but they feed on human flesh, and they can't eat anything else except coffee, which it's not very nutritious to only eat coffee or drink coffee. So it's sort of like understanding who are the real monsters, like the people that feed on humans or the real humans. It's a fight for survival, and at the same time it's very scientific. The second season, Tokyo Ghoul Re, this second season of volumes, it's way more scientific than the first one. It talks about how the genes for the ghoul mutation develops, and it's really, if you don't like science-y stuff, it's not for you at all. At least this second season is not for you. It's also very gory, and it's also very sad at some points, and you have a lot of death and wars and dying and horrible, gruesome, terrible acts. So it's not really for you if you don't like that. But the art is amazing. It's beautiful, and it's one of the best motion arts that I've ever seen. So when there's a fight, I'm trying to find out a fight. And I'm spoiling myself, so no, I'm not going to do that. But when there's a fight, it's so well drawn that you can actually see the movement happening. And I love it. Because I actually gave up on watching the anime for this, so I watched the first series, the Tokyo Ghoul series, first and second season. I hated the second season so much because it changed the plot points of the manga for no fucking reason. But whatever, and so I decided I'm not going to watch Tokyo Ghoul Re, I'm just going to read it because the manga is way, way better than the animation. I mean, prove me fucking wrong. And then I have the crown jewel of this book haul, which is still in the protective paper. I haven't opened it, and I'm going to open it after this haul to safekeep it. And it is the collector's edition of Cardcaptor Sakura by Clump, and this is the third one of the collector's edition. And look at this. Oh my god, it just is so beautiful and chibi and cute, and I die. This is just so beautiful. If you don't know Cardcaptor Sakura, first of all, you had no childhood at all. Second of all, this was sort of like my introduction to anime, so I will always and forever love it. And this is the manga version of it. It's about this little girl, she's called Sakura, and she finds this book in her dad's office, and she opens it, releasing all of the Clo cards, which are magical cards made by this wizard named Clo, and she releases them all into the world. So the guardian of the cards, which looks like a plushie, and it's called Kerberos, he tells her, like, you have to get all of the cards back together, and so he gifts her with this sort of staff, and she can collect cards and use them with the staff. And so she has to collect them all and become the new owner of the cards. And it's so wholesome. It has a lot of very hard topics because her mother died when she was very, very young. There's also some situations that are very, very difficult to deal with some of the cards. Some of the cards are very emotional, some are not. And I don't know, it's a beautiful thing. It's about friendship, it's about courage, it's about just growing up and being who you are and having the power to, make your dreams come true. And the third season of Cardcaptor Sakura is coming to Netflix in March. So, and in that season, she's already very grown up. So, it's a new manga series that is coming out with her grown up. And I cannot wait because I love it. So, yeah. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video, which is already very, very long, but I had a lot of books to haul, so that was it. I hope that you guys enjoyed my haul, and if you know any of these books or want to read any of these books or write any of these books, you know the drill, just tell me in the comments down below. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. Tell me which books you are buying for February or for March, and happy readings to you all. Bye-bye!